right, say your full name, how you want it to appear in a movie, and spell it out right into the camera.
Ross Godfrey. ROSSGODFREY.
Let me ask you, Ross, why do you think it's important to inspire our youth?
I feel like it's important to inspire our youth because they are the future. They are the future presidents. They are the future council members. They are the future designers that put people in position when the other people die off or get old.
All right, speak up a little bit too. Speak up just a little bit louder. In your own eyes, does the future look hopeful or not?
In my own eyes, I think the future is very bright. I don't think it's very bright.
Why?
I feel like the future is very bright as far as if you're speaking for me individually or you speaking for the youth. I think for me individually because right now I have a record company and I have a clothing line called the Black Soprano. Right now it's taking off and it's been world renowned. People are starting to get a view and a catch of what's really happening. Far as for the youth, I think the youth is taking off because they have more programs and more initiatives like At School. They have like Middlebrook College where they give you college classes, or they have certain vocational or trade schools and internships to be hands-on before they even get out of high school. So I think the future is very bright.
Do you think race is affecting youth?
I
So why? I'm sorry.
I do think racism affect the youth, and by how I feel like racism affects everybody, not only the youth. I feel like the negativity and the stereotype and the stigma of the racism. I'll give you a prime example. If it's a couple older Caucasian people on the elevator, and then three, four African Americans or another minority come on that same elevator, people will be getting a little tense. I've seen it a lot of times with my own eyes, even with me getting on elevators. So I think racism is it's more blunt than people try to make it seem like it is.
Can you hear that in the background, Flock?
I'm trying to figure that out.
Did you hear all that stuff? So good thing we didn't have the shotgun. You didn't hear it, did you? In the headphones?
I couldn't tell.
That.
Too close?
Yeah.
You can hear that in the mic?
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. We may have to move.
Yeah, we can definitely hear that.
Hear what? That in the background?
Yeah, the mic might pick it up. Cut. Just cut for a minute. Get the audio. Who inspired you when you were young?
Who inspired me when I was young? I believe Malcolm X. Malcolm X was the first person I think really inspired me as really a kid. Like when I first seen Malcolm X, the movie, and I seen the power, the struggle, and everything that he went through to overcome it, I think Malcolm X was really the first person to inspire me.
All right, and when you like speak loud, especially if that stuff is in the background, so your voice is like, I'll watch it out and fix it. So what was it about Malcolm X that really inspired you? Did you like do any like reading afterwards? What was it about him?
What inspired me about Malcolm X was how actually before he went to jail, he was perming his hair, he was in the streets, he was dealing with different ladies, he was dealing with drugs, he was dealing with different things, you get what I'm saying? And like really poverty, I guess, in the inner city that we all run across. So, but I respected that when he came home from jail and he wanted to be focused, he was a different individual. He didn't perm his hair. He let the natural look take place. He believed in what he believed in. He wasn't too much of a follower. He followed Elijah Muhammad for the word and the power that he had. But when he even seen that Elijah Muhammad wasn't teaching people the right teaching, he broke off and started his own establishment. And I respected his power, his unity, and how he did for the communities and for his people.
What do you think, what would you tell, I guess first yourself, what do you do to help the future of the youth, and what would you like to see other people do?
Right now, what I do individually, like I said, I own a company called Black Soprano Family. As you see, it's BSF. I have a gun guitar on there. A lot of stigma and stereotype because it's a gun guitar. But the gun guitar, it symbolizes a very good things. A lot of my friends, I have more friends that died from the streets from a gun instead of natural causes. So, far as that being said, like, so I want to convert it and let them know you don't always have to use a gun. You can incorporate the music thing and let them know, like, you showing a different path instead of having to pick up a gun. Maybe you want to pick up a guitar. Maybe you want to pick up a music instrument. So really, I feel like my choice of me giving back, like I talk at the schools for the youth and let them know, because I'm a person that come from the same streets and the same poverties and the same ghettos as them. So I talk to them to try to inspire them. You don't want to take the wrong path. You can be anything that you want to be. I hand out turkeys on Thanksgiving. I know, like, a lot of people, it's hard to make ends meet, and majority of people was living check by check. So if I can add on, so I want to have turkeys. I do turkeys drive to hand out to the communities. On Christmas or holidays, I reach out to the public, let them know if your kids need any coats to stay warm. It's very cold in Buffalo winter, so I donate coats. And like I give away Easter egg hunts. We have Easter egg hunts with candy and money in the eggs, just to keep the positive and let them know that a lot of black males is not just on the corner selling drugs or glorifying the street life. So I want to let them know, like, a lot of young people was really hands-on and giving back to their communities that they came up off.
One sec, Corey. I just gotta adjust the mic real quick. All right, we're rolling.
In your own eyes, how do you feel about the current state of America, and describe it? Like, what's going on right now?
The current state of America, I feel like America is very, very divided, completely. The reason why I say that, I say America is very divided because you have the youth, you have the older people, you have the elderlies. So those right there is three different categories. So when I say the youth is, I'm going to say, when I say the youth who 8 to 17, 18 years old, the youth is creating the trends for the fashions. The youth is the ones that's streaming the music, to making the music relevant. The youth is making everything be what it is. So you have the youth, and then after the youth, you have like our era, in which our era is we not young and we not old, but we trendy and we can make an impact on the future and what happens around us. And then you have the elderly that, the older you is, you more stuck in your ways. So you kind of naive to what the youth have to say, or the people younger than you. So it's kind of divided just in those ways itself, just on the age factor. And then you have a dividedness on the race factor. And when I say the race factor, I mean the black, the whites, the Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans, and that's divided. And like, I feel like right now our country is very divided. We not as one nation. We's one nation as a whole, but I don't feel like we's one nation to move forward. And the reason why I say that, from the killings, from these innocent black men getting killed unharmed, the Donald Trump rallies where people were getting punched in the face, and Donald Trump was telling them during his election he paid for their lawyer fees. The dividedness from Syria getting bombed, and the refugees, we willing to bomb there, but they can't come to our country in America. So you have mixed emotions about that. How you bomb them and then they can't come here for a refuge. You have dividedness with the Mexicans because they want to kick out the Mexicans out of our country that's undoctored workers, but a lot of those is paying taxes, a lot of those is raising kids here, but some people feel like they taking out our jobs and our opportunities. So I feel like as a whole, this country is very, very divided.
How often do you deal with racism?
I think I deal with racism every day. And it's sad, but I feel like I deal with racism a lot of times more than I deal with prejudice of black people than I do with white people, to be honest with you. I get more, racism affects me more just by the gun on my guitar. Buffalo police, they might feel like this is a company and this is an LLC company that I got personally on my name. But Buffalo police will tell you that this is a gang. But they never sat down and talked to me. They never knew if I was a college student. They didn't know if I had a corporation. They didn't care. So right now, I deal with racism and the stigma every day of my life.
So do you think like racism is increasing or decreasing? have you, as you
I feel like
did you deal with it more younger?
I feel like racism is decreasing because it has during these past decades. I don't think racism would never disappear. I think racism would minimize itself because the way we have the internet and how to put people on blast and to make things viral. So when we have an incident of somebody getting called a nigger or somebody getting called a white cracker by a black person getting punched in the face, I think racism now is more broadcast now more than ever. But at the same time, I feel like it's decreasing because you can get in trouble for it. The more rightly you use it. Like say far as you had the cook lady a few years ago and she said something about African Americans and she lost her sponsors, she lost her TV show. So racism, I think, is more decreasing than it is increasing.
You think social media affect racism and like separate people?
I think social media definitely separate racism by you have white supremacist groups that reach out to people, that give them the opportunity that if even though you're not in Alabama, you can send us a link or email and you can be a part of our brotherhood nation or far as just racism. I think the internet put it more out there, more reachable to attain and showcase it.
Has your skin color ever affect any kind of employment for you? If so, how? Or it's like, do you believe in like affirmative action?
I believe my skin color have affected my employment my whole life, my education my whole life, my opportunities financially my whole life. I feel like my race has played a major part of that.
Why?
I feel like my race plays a major part of that because at one point in time I had braids, and to be a black person with braids and just the stigma of not knowing far as job interviews, just coming in there even though I was dressed with the right attire, but just the braids or just being the gorilla in the room, so to say, whatever that term, you interpret that term for it to be, but sometimes being a black person is being really the gorilla in the room. It just stick out.
Explain that a little bit more. Like, people would think like that's like racist in itself. You call yourself a gorilla.
No, when I say the gorilla in the room, I mean if you got a room full of all chimpanzees and you have a gorilla, they all are monkeys. But somehow when that gorilla walk in the room, the rest of the chimpanzees sit there and look at him or know how to move forward. They feel their temperature, they feel their vibes, even though they all are monkeys, which means with me, if I walks in the room and it's all white people, and it's not to say it depends on the situation. When I walks in the room at school, it might be all white people and I get treated different than me walking into, say, my financial advisor office. I mean, it might be way in the suburbs, and I walk in there without no suit or without just the regular clothes, and they might think like, what is he here to talk about? It's just the gorilla in the room effect. Don't mean that it's just the intimidation, so to say, just the stigma. I don't know. Like when you look on the news, when you read books and you look on the internet, the majority of the crimes that's really getting committed is on the east side of Buffalo. And the east side of Buffalo is a majority black community. So a lot of people deal with the stigma of the black community. They never see the black community handing out turkeys. They never seen the black community do the Easter egg hunt. They never seen the black community talking to the youth. They only really know the black community way the media portray us to be. And that's a lot of times it's athletes or it's bank robbers or sports. So it's different individuals and it's different stigmas that certain people accept us to be.
Police. Is cops your friends? Do they protect and serve, or do they patrol and abuse, or what's your views on police? Not just in Buffalo, but just, this is going to be seen worldwide.
My views on police, worldwide or United States?
United States.
My views on police in the United States of America is police is dirty. And the reason why I say that, I don't say it as a whole. I say police is dirty for one of many reasons. Police stick together. They is their own gang, so to say, and they have a certain loyalty amongst each other that is different from the civilian, which means like myself has experienced police brutality. Individually have seen it, and I also have been abused by police. And the reason why I say that, like I have license, I have insurance, I have registrations, but there have been times I have been pulled over by police and they just told me to get out the car. It wasn't about the ID, it wasn't about me having license, insurance, car, or nothing as a whole. It's just, I feel like a lot of times police make it seem like they more the king of what they patrolling, so they don't abide by the same rules they are supposed to protect and serve. And I feel like police as a whole is not bad, but I feel like it's a 50-50 things that a lot of police is bad. There's a lot of bad police. It's just how I feel personally.
If somebody watching this 20, 30 years from now, describe what is it like being black in 2017?
To be black in 2017, this is what it means. I feel like no matter how much money you have or what you don't have, it will still be a certain type of a stigma for us to have to get accepted to. And when I say that, I say it's no all black board at Harvard. It's at Forbes magazine is not a majority black staff. It's just at country clubs in suburban America is majority ran by white America. So what I'm saying is you will always have to get accepted one way or another into a white America. No matter how much money you have, you will still be categorized as a black person.
What are your hopes and solutions?
My hopes and my solutions is to spread love, not war. When I say spread love, not war, if you feel racism is getting portrayed, you don't fight that person or cuss that person out or go back and forth with that person. I feel like you showcase to them that you're not a racism. You get what I'm saying? And when I say that, I say, like, I get the door for white people just as much as I get the door for a black person. Get the door or speak, be polite, how you doing? Get what I'm saying? Their kids fall down or you see a kid shoe tie their shoe. So I feel like instead of feeding into it, you battle it by combating and show them the way they should be instead of showing them the way that they are already.
Do you think blacks are still affected by slavery?
I definitely feel like blacks are still affected by slavery because I feel like I said, I feel like it's a slavery mentality now in 2017. And the reason why I say that because back in the slave days, you had what they called, so to say, quote unquote, not to say, you had a house nigga and you had a field nigga. With the house nigga, he lived in the house. He ate every day. He prepared the meals. He did everything. He cooked. He cleaned. He had the household over his head. And then you had the field nigga. The field nigga slept in the barn, slept outside in the woods, deal with the roaches, deal with the weather. So it was more like the field nigga kind of was mad about the house nigga being in the house. And the house nigga was kind of mad about the field nigga having the freedom, be able to run off from the plantation and double right back if they feel like they need, instead of being in the house all the time. So that, them two individuals itself, it started tension, so to say. Not acknowledge that we both in slavery, we both were struggling, we both in pain, we trying to develop and move on for our culture and us as individually, but it just built a certain type of racism. So you fast forward it now to 2017, when I say you have a house nigga and you still have a slave nigga mentality by you have a person who worked, do doubles, pay taxes, drop their daughter off to school, just to make ends meet and live a certain type of lifestyle. And then you still have a field nigga that's on the corner. He might be selling drugs or not, but he really not utilizing his best of his time as the other individual is. And he might be jealous as the person because the car that they have, the house that they live in, and they never sat down and talked to each other and based about the struggle and how I might can help you at my job, or maybe I might have a job for you to work around the house, or so to say, or I might need your services. But instead, it's the house nigga and the field nigga, and they feel jealous, but they both are struggling, and they both trying to rise beyond the same thing. But the one person is looking at them like, oh, they have a house, they have a car, oh, they doing good for themselves. And the other person might ride past the person on the corner like, damn, he got all day. He can chill with his buddies. He can be on the corner. He can go eat what he want. He don't have no boss. So I feel like in 2017, we still affect each other with the house nigga and the slave nigga, quote, unquote, to say.
Final question. What's black people, what's the biggest setback? What's holding us up the most?
I feel like the biggest setback for black people is basing our struggle on white people. It's not slavery time no more. It shouldn't really be no excuse. You got to take things for what it is and work on what you want it to be. When I say take things for what it is, Martin Luther King was mad as hell about the racism. You think Martin Luther King wanted to walk to Alabama, walk to Georgia, walk to Memphis, the civil rights act? You think Martin Luther King wanted to get bit by a dog? You think Martin Luther King wanted to get sprayed with water hose? But you know what he said? You got to take a different results. You can't expect different results on the same thing. So we going to get sprayed with these water hoses. They going to club us. We going to get bit by the dog. We going to walk thousands of miles. We going to get beat up, bashed, and go to jail because change going to come. You fast forward now, change have come. You have integrated schools. It's not just a whites only drinking fountain. It's not just a whites only restaurant. It's not just a blacks only sit right here on the bus. So change will come. As long as you work towards it, it's never going to be easy. But the more you work towards it and not sit around on the couch and complain about it, change will always come.
That's good. That's real good. Let's get that locked in.